You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me thank the Minister of Finance for the mid-year review presented to Parliament. Mr. Speaker, the performance of a budget should reflect in the livelihoods of people on all economic ages. If you look at household, inflation is relatively stable within the 8 to 10% inflation band. That guarantees predictability and easy planning. Mr. Speaker, if you have an economy that has an environment of interest bank lending rate falling from about 32% to 15.6%, Ghana reference rate falling from about 29% to 10.06%, and you also have the policy rate falling from about 29% to 14%. That guarantees easy and cheaper source of capital for private sector. And I'm not surprised that access to private capital has grown by 22.8%. Mr. Speaker, Ghana, indeed, after the presentation of the mid-year review, we had one press conference addressed by 3 speakers. Mr. Speaker, it is worth noting to understand that the external sector of Ghana has improved. Ghana is now respected. Ghana is no longer described as a junk economy. All rating agencies across the globe have rated Ghana stable with a positive macro outlook. Mr. Speaker, I will premise my submission on debunking only one thing. The thing is that the minority always keep referencing Akufo-Addo is not spending, Akufo-Addo is not spending, and Akufo-Addo is not generating revenue. Mr. Speaker, I have the fiscal performance of Ghana from 2017 to 2026. Let's look at revenue. Mr. Speaker, 2017, I'll grant MPP that their best years were 2017, 2018, and 2019. Because after that, anything you tell them, they will say it's COVID. So let's narrow it down to their best performance. Mr. Speaker, in 2017, they budgeted to raise 44.96 billion. They ended up by getting 41.25 billion, making a net unrealized revenue of 3.71 billion. In 2018, they budgeted to raise 49.40 billion. They ended up by getting 46.81 billion, losing about 2.59 billion. In 2019, they budgeted to raise 58.91 billion. They only had 54.56 billion, making a loss of 4.34 billion. These are your best results in your best years. But Mr. Speaker, the same finance minister, they say he's not spending. In 2025, he budgeted to raise 229.95 billion. He had 226.49 billion. He only lost 3.46 billion. On what grounds, what temerity do you have to say that Akufo-Addo is not raising enough revenue? Mr. Speaker, let's look at expenditure execution. It is also important to stop the politics that they are doing. In fact, in expenditure, Dr. Akufo-Addo that they say he is not spending, the best years under President Akufo-Addo, 2017, 2018, and 2019, they spent in excess of 40. The budget execution in terms of expenditure for 2017 was 94.5%. 2018, 95.7%, and 2019, 96.5%. Akufo-Addo in 2025 spent 94.4%. On what grounds are you saying he's not spending? Mr. Speaker, there is no better way of measuring whether a budget is performing or not. This is the scorecard on budget execution. In 2017, the revenue execution was moderate. Expenditure execution was restrained. That's the word that was given by the IMF, restrained. Overall score was amber. It means that the economy was given a caution. And the reason they gave was that consolidation began, but the capital spending and arrears require examination. In 2018, your revenue performance was described as weak. Your expenditure was below. Mr. Speaker, let me just say one thing, Mr. Speaker. In 2021, MPP added 47.4 billion Ghana cedis in 1 year. In 2022, they did 84.5% in 1 year. In 2023, they added 162 billion in 1 single year. And in 2024, they added 116 billion Ghana cedis in 1 year. President Akufo-Addo has the record of having borrowed more than all presidents combined from Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. The scorecard for Dr. Akufo-Addo is reflected in price stability. The scorecard for Dr. Akufo-Addo
Honourable members, it's now the turn of Honourable Patrick Yaobuama.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, a government that has raised so much money and cannot even pay doctors, nurses, and teachers, and the minister is very comfortable reporting this to us, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, a government that promised to create 800,000 jobs couldn't report to us during the media review. That is for the NDC government. Mr. Speaker, let me refer you to...
So there's a problem.
Hello. Then you have to restart.
Yes.
Yes.
Please hold the time for him.
So now, all right. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me refer the House to paragraph 464, 465, and 466 of the review, especially on 466. Government is therefore proposing further reforms in 3 key areas: shortening procurement lead times, limiting the use of single-source procurement, and tightening restricted tendering. Mr. Speaker, that is good. But, Mr. Speaker, go to the Finance Minister's constituency. I'm going to demonstrate to this House 3 very key projects that he's gone against what he's reporting to this House. 1, the Mankasim-Ajumaku-Swedru Road is 111 kilometers. It's going to cost this country about $250 million, single source procurement. Secondly, he is going to build a military barracks in Ejumako at 200 million Ghana cedis. Number 3, he is going to build a specialist hospital. The Ejumako military barracks is also a single source procurement procedure that was used. The specialist hospital, instead of siting it in Cape Coast, is bringing it to Ejumako at 850 million Ghana cedis, almost $80 million. On a restricted tender basis, Mr. Speaker. So if the minister comes to tell us that he is tightening procurement rules and regime, then I don't believe in what he is talking about. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, the constituency chairman of the Minister of Finance is the chair of the Central Tender Review Committee. Yes. Hey, Professor Kwanzaa, you can check. His constituent is also the Deputy CEO at the Public Procurement Authority. Jesus Christ. Mr. Speaker, and the Ministry of Finance supervises the PPA. Conflict of interest and abuse. Mr. Speaker, let me withdraw that bit of conflict of interest. Mr. Speaker, that is the position. That is the Minister of Finance wanting to
you say the whole thing that you want to withdraw. Please withdraw.
In this country.
Please, you say you want to withdraw. Please withdraw.
I review that bit of conflict of interest. Mr. Speaker, it's on. It's on. Are you the Speaker? Sit down.
Honourable members. The statement that the Finance Minister is in conflict of interest is expunged from the record as if it doesn't exist.
Mr. Speaker, I've mentioned the Ejumako Road. I've mentioned the military barracks. The people of Ejumako needs jobs, but he decided to send them a military barracks. That's his problem. Mr. Speaker, the specialist hospital, Cape Coast has one of the best hospitals. He's decided to site a specialist hospital over 850 million Ghana cedis in the Ejumako. That's fine, but the cocoa farmers in the Ejumako have still not been paid, Mr. Speaker. The cocoa farmers in Ejumako want to be paid, and that is what Ghanaians want. Mr. Speaker, this House, I'm proud that you are a member of the committee. We passed the Tree Crop Development Authority Act, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, under Section 26 of the Act, we mentioned the 3 crops that this Act was going to support, including oil palm. In the 2026 main budget, he came here to tell us that he was going to spend over $500 million to revive the oil palm sector through the Ghana.
Majority Leader, you may stop his time for him.
Mr. Speaker, ordinarily, I will not be interrupting a senior member in debate. But repeatedly, he kept saying that the finance minister has sent a hospital project to his constituency. Mr. Speaker, I have been lobbying to have a hospital project in my constituency. And the person who sends hospital projects is the Minister for Health, not the Minister for Finance. It's the Minister for Health. If you talk about paying, of course, it is paid from government chest. But the person who sends it is the Minister for Health. So let's be accurate. And the roads are sent by the Minister for Roads, not by the Minister for Finance. So let us be accurate in our rendition of what happens in this country.
Mr. Speaker, that's not like the majority leader. He's been in this House and knows that the Minister of Finance has a lot of influence in determining where projects go. It's on record, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I see that they are interrupting, but I'll go to the 1,200 megawatts power plant that the minister is seeking. Where is the PRA in this country?
Well, your time is up. Yes.
Speaker, I respectfully thought that we came to an addendum that we shall be having commentaries without any form of interruptions. Speaker, if you look at 122 of the standing orders, there was no point of order. There was none whatsoever from my respected majority leader. And Speaker, we all have agreed that if we are not careful, the time that we are all waiting to use properly, we may end up interrupting debates and commentaries.
Yes.
Yes, Speaker.
Honorable Jerry, I agree perfectly with you. You've all listened to Honorable Boama. Where I sit, if the rules are breached, I know. You see, if our debate can be devoid of personal attack, I think there will not be any need to do a point of order. Where we are, Jerry, with your position as a deputy whip, you are in a position of influence. So if you use the influence to send to lobby for a project in your constituency, doesn't mean you are the one sending the decision. So please, if your brother or your constituent is working at a place, does it put you in a position of conflict of interest? Honourable members, it's now the turn of Titus Bayu. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to comment on the statement made by the Honourable Minister for Finance. Mr. Speaker, I think the Honourable Minister delivered for me what to be one of the most inspiring statements in this House. It encapsulates indeed the Ghana that we want. He told us the country the present administration inherited. He told us how he worked hard with his team to clear up the mess. And if he had stopped there, he would have been lamenting. But instead of lamentation, he took us through the structures that he used to stabilize the economy. And he assured us that the stabilization was not a destination. It was the price that we needed to pay as an entry, and from there we were to make progress. Mr. Speaker, he further told us plans that the government has to ensure that the future is properly taken care of. For instance, he mentioned to us that money has been set aside for a project that is yet to commence, the Accra-Kumasi Expressway. This is one of the first time that even before a project is started, sort is cut, assurances is given of money that has been made available. He has put money in the sinking fund to take care of expenditure that will be due in future. We have been in this country where, Mr. Speaker, previous administrations have borrowed and borrowed and borrowed and asked us to clap for them for borrowing. Instead, we have a finance minister and a government that is making proper plans to settle debts that will be due in future. He has also come up with what we call the gas to power initiative, which will reduce by 75% our production cost for energy if this is materialized. So I could not agree more that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, through the finance minister, has indeed moved the economy of Ghana from the emergency room to a wellness center. And for those who are not medically inclined, moving from the emergency room to a wellness center involves a lot of stages. You need to treat the person, which is what he has done, settled our debts and creditably discharged us from the IMF and taking us through the general ward by stabilization, and finally he is making sure that we do not fall back to that level of illness, which is that we don't borrow recklessly and end up in debt. Mr. Speaker, there have been accusations that the finance minister is not spending. If spending is spending recklessly, then the finance minister is indeed not spending. But if it is spending prudently, then he is spending. Mr. Speaker, the finance minister is spending prudently, and I can attest to that fact. Nursing trainee allowances of 144 million cedis has been paid. Ghana Medical Trust, the Mahama Care, has received 1.1 billion, and that has real manifestation in our life. If your relation is a patient, is one of the 22 patients who recently got treatment at the Kolebu Cardiac Catheterization Lab from complex procedures that they would have traveled out of this country, then you will know that the finance minister is spending and spending prudently. If you are a beneficiary of the National Health Insurance Scheme, you've gone to the hospital and your insurance card is working, and you know that the finance minister has paid 4.5 billion to the National Health Insurance Authority, then you will know that he's spending, and he's spending prudently, and you will not accuse him of not spending. The finance minister has spent 533 million Ghana cedis on the no-fee stress. If you are a student in the first year of tertiary institution in Ghana here that have benefited from this, you will not agree with anybody that makes the argument that our finance minister is not spending. You will rather agree that he's spending, but spending prudently. Mr. Speaker, in fact, I am particularly touched by some revelations from this statement of the finance minister, and that is investment in the most vulnerable sectors of our society. The conscience of the nation is judged by how it takes care of the most vulnerable. If a finance minister has taken 950,000 people out of the bracket of multidimensionally poor people, will you say that he's not spending? If he has spent 485 million to pay,
members, I then move back to Honorable Kojo Oppong Nkrumah. Yes, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the statement that was delivered by the Minister for Finance. Mr. Speaker, Section 28 of the Public Financial Management Act, which makes statutory the presentation of the mid-year review, is quite clear. It is a platform for the minister to account for how much of the economic program of the year has been executed and how much has not been executed. This morning, we saw the government communications machinery in overdrive, claiming on some of the TV stations that this is the first time a finance minister has presented the mid-year review and has not requested for more money. That's palpably false. This is not the first time a finance minister has presented a mid-year review and has not requested for more resources. In fact, what has happened for the first time is that this is the first time a finance minister has presented the mid-year review and has not been able to tell the country how much of the economic program has been executed and how much has not been executed. And I could hear some of my colleagues on the other side laboring under the argument that they want to prove that some spending is going on. Mr. Speaker, let me ask them to go to Appendix 2A. It's in the document that you have. And in Appendix 2A, you will find out, Mr. Speaker, that this government, this minister, made promises of projects, jobs, and programs to the tune of 30 billion Ghana cedis, which it has not executed as at half year. As at half year, they have under-executed the budget. The reason for which many of you don't have projects going on in your constituency is because they have under-executed the budget by 30 billion Ghana cedis. And Mr. Speaker, that 30 billion Ghana cedis is jobs, is projects, is programs that they promised that they were going to deliver. And it was baffling to hear the finance minister then go on Joy News to argue that he is not spending as much as he programmed to spend because the MPP signed up with the IMF on a 1.5% primary balance. That's laughable because that 1.5% primary balance is supposed to be achieved after you have executed your economic policy. So how do you use it as a basis not to execute? And what is worse, Mr. Speaker, is that he is now signaling that in 2027 he is going to lower the primary balance to 0.5. You know what that means? It means that all the so-called fiscal discipline they are talking about, they are going to lower the so-called fiscal discipline. Why? Because we are getting closer to elections, Abi. So now they are going to lower the primary balance from 1.5 to 0.5. Mr. Minister, the solution is not in lowering the primary balance. The solution is in paying more attention to your revenue measures so that you get the revenues that you need. Now, Mr. Speaker, when you fail to execute 30 billion Ghana cedis worth of projects in your budget, let me show you what it is. You see the money you are supposed to spend on flood control programs. The World Bank says because of your expenditure encumbrances, you refuse to spend so that your books will look good on paper. When the floods came, 34 people died, 6 went missing. That's the cost of what you are doing. The Agric Ministry needed about 1.6 billion Ghana cedis for fertilizers and other things. You claimed you had released it. The minister came and told everybody that that was untrue. And now, what is going on out there, ask those who go to the market the price of just one tomato. You will see the value of what you are doing. The education minister said he needed to recruit tens of thousands of young Ghanaians. Because you are not giving financial clearance because you want your books to look nice, they are sitting home and they are struggling with recruitment. Look at the health minister complaining that he wishes he could recruit more. But because you want your figures to look good, the people are sitting at home. And because you are not giving financial clearance for people to be recruited on 133 shift, they are sitting at home. There's no single NDC chairman or women's organizer whose child is working on a 133 shift. And that is the evidence of your failure. Mr. Speaker, with your permission, let me speak in Twi and I'll translate contemporaneously into English. What's the young country there? Who inflation 5%? You know, where we marry? Upper press care for Chrome to be antazi. Now inflation are performed. To which, Mr. Speaker, our mothers who sell in the market say they've seen what you are doing. You have sterilized all the money, so there's no money to execute demand. And that is why you calculate that inflation is down. Aboso kai spare parts for no. He promised to reduce import duties. He has increased it.
Members, order.
Mr. Speaker, I want to end by serving notice, and notice is hereby served. The next MPP government under the leadership of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will ensure that we have inflation at low rates that will not cost the Bank of Ghana 16 billion Ghana cedis. The next MPP government under Dr. Bawumia will ensure that the currency is stable and we won't lose $900 million. You lose $900 million.
Honourable member, your time is up. Honourable members, can we listen to each other in silence? Please, it's now the turn of Eric Afu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to make a contribution to the media budget review. You are happy that I'm up to speak. Mr. Speaker, let me commend the Finance Minister so much for his courageous and efficient delivery of the media budget review. And let me commend him again for staying within the appropriation. For staying within the appropriation of 357 billion Ghana cedis. It is telling you that he knew what he did. It is telling you that he's very efficient and effective and responsible. Mr. Speaker, let me quote the Finance Minister. Mr. Speaker, Ghana has not met its first half targets. It has exceeded them. This is where you should stand. Mr. Speaker, the domestic revenue and grants, we appropriated to achieve 7.9% of GDP. We did 7.8% first half of the year. That is the revenue target. So I don't know why you are saying that revenue is understated. Mr. Speaker, let me come to expenditure part. I don't know why my colleagues are saying that we are not spending. Go to the budget review and quote the total expenditure. Total expenditure on commitment basis was 8.0% of GDP against half-year target of 9.9%. So what are you talking about? Mr. Speaker, let me run them through some of the expenditure. Let me outline some of the expenditure that we did. Mr. Speaker, compensation, when take the appropriation, was supposed to be 90 billion for the entire year. How much have we spent? 48.8% for the first half of the year. Mr. Speaker, interest rates were supposed to pay about 57 billion. What have we done? Let me quote from the review. 21.5 billion for interest payment. Also, to honor our international debt obligation, an amount of $700 million for Eurobond debt service and interest has been paid. Lastly, to restore confidence in our financial system, an amount of 10 billion to domestic bond holders. Domestic bond holders. What does it mean? It means that we have multiplier effects in our economy. That's the government expenditure. Mr. Speaker, we are talking about stable macroeconomic conditions in the country. What does this signify in the country? Mr. Speaker, it is telling you that Ghana has joined, Mr. Speaker, its colleagues, Benin, Cape Verde, La Côte d'Ivoire, and Togo. These are the countries which have satisfied the convergence criteria for the establishment of ECO in West Africa Monetary Zone. Ghana is one of them. And let me say that next year we are inaugurating the ECO. Next year we are inaugurating the ECO. Ghana is one of them. Mr. Speaker, let me run you through the convergence criteria for you to see. First of all, the primary convergence criteria, that's the budget deficit. Ghana has qualified. Budget deficit should be less or equal to 3% of GDP. Now, where are we now? We are doing 2.1%, which is better. Mr. Speaker, we are saying that annual average inflation should be less or equal to 5%. Ghana is doing 3.2% to 5.4% as of June 2026. Mr. Speaker, the central bank financial budget deficit should be 10%. No, 10%. Mr. Speaker, Ghana is doing zero. Ghana is doing zero. Bank of Ghana is not financing our budget deficit. Mr. Speaker, let me say that with respect to gross international reserves, what we are doing is that we are on course. Mr. Speaker, what are we saying? Mr. Speaker, this budget review is one of the best budget reviews so far, simply because we knew.
Remember, your time is up. It's now the turn of Honorable Akufo-Addo. Honorable Akufo-Addo, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to also raise some few points on the media review. Mr. Speaker, the media review is supposed to do a few things. One of them is to tell the government's projection or the government achievement with respect to the budget it presented to this House. The second one, which majority of the youth are looking up to, is to tell the people the jobs that this budget that was presented to us have been able to achieve. Mr. Speaker, it is sad to present that the budget that was presented to us in 2026, or for the 2026 year, Mr. Speaker, outlined a few items that will create jobs. One is a big push that is supposed to create 490,000 jobs. The second is a garment factory, 3 new garment factories that is supposed to create 20,000 jobs. The third one is 7 new agro plant processing factories that are supposed to produce or provide 700,000 new jobs. The oil palm, which is supposed to provide 250,000 jobs. And then we have special service farm service centers, which is supposed to provide another thousands of specified jobs. Mr. Speaker, when you put all these jobs together, the budget that was presented is providing 800,000 jobs. Mr. Speaker, aside the 800,000 jobs, it makes provision for the National Apprenticeship Program, the National Codes, the Ejumera, the Big Push, and the 24-hour economy. Mr. Speaker, I beg to submit that the review that was presented here, Mr. Speaker, is sad, and the Ghanaian youth are so disappointed that the review could not, Mr. Speaker, tell us the number of jobs that have been provided as we speak now or by the review. Mr. Speaker, when you even look at the allocations that have been earmarked or specified recently, Mr. Speaker, you will notice that the Ejumera, so far, they have provided only 34.5 million, which is about 21% of the earmark allocation supposed to be given to them. Mr. Speaker, remaining or reserving 78.4%. As we speak now, that has not gone. Mr. Speaker, the National Apprenticeship, they only earmark or have disbursed 45 million. Mr. Speaker, as we speak now, it is about 26.5% of the jobs that was of the percentage that is supposed to go to them. This is what we are facing. This is the reality of the review. This is where the majority of Ghanaian youth are disappointed. Mr. Speaker, when you go to the budget and trade, largely, Mr. Speaker, it is talking about creating 2 new cashew processing factories, revitalizing the Commander Sugar Factory, Volta Star Textile Factory, Northern Star Tomato Factory, Akosombo Industrial Company. Mr. Speaker, as we speak now, per the review, the only thing that was said by the minister was that they have appointed a transaction advisor to secure investors. Mr. Speaker, the sad part is that the whole of 2026, Mr. Speaker, if you are a youth in Ghana and you are focusing and hoping that the government of Ghana, through these promises that was mentioned here, and the entire NDC or majority caucus were shouting, yeah. If you are expecting any job from this point, Mr. Speaker, none. Mr. Speaker, the oil pump, I told my colleagues on the debate that the oil pump stated that it is spanning from 2026 to 2032. The Speaker, as we speak now, it means that the 250,000 jobs that was mentioned, the Speaker, it is not possible. Now that they are securing funds, they are looking for drone survey and all that. It is sad. Clearly, you cannot bank your hope on these ones. The Speaker, the sad part is that the trump card of the NDC was jobs. The Speaker, they mentioned that we will implement revolutionary and transactional policies to create sustainable, decent, well-paying jobs. The Speaker, I'm asking that, where are these well-paying jobs? Mr. Speaker, I'm asking that what time will Yatiti report in the morning? And what time will Captain Smart go in the afternoon? And what time will Sami Jemfi join them in the evening? The masses and the teeming youth out there are expecting that the one job, the one job, 3 shifts and 3 workers should be implemented. That is what they are looking for, Mr. Speaker. And I want to submit that this job is this review is bereft of the jobs that they promised the Ghanaian people to provide. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I want to thank you.
That's right.
But the list is now the turn of Honorable Kofi-Addo Nokwe. You have the floor.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to also add my voice to the media review. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to commend the Finance Minister, and more importantly, Right Honorable Speaker, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, for appointing Honorable Akufo-Addo as the Finance Minister. I believe it is one of the best decisions ever made. And Mr. Speaker, let me also commend the Governor of Bank of Ghana, Dr. Isiama, for the coordination, the healthy coordination between the Finance Ministry and the Bank of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, in 2024, relationship between the Ministry of Finance and Bank of Ghana was like Iraq, and the U.S. war. It was so bad. Mr. Speaker, even before the Finance Minister came here, some of us took the trouble to go into the market, to go visit the market to find out the realities. And Mr. Speaker, I can report to you that, Mr. Speaker, a bag of Gino rice, that used to sell at 850 Ghana cedis in 2024, Mr. Speaker, is now 550 Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, a bag of Cindy rice, a 50 kg of Cindy rice, that used to sell in 2024 for 1,500 Ghana cedis, as at now, Mr. Speaker, is selling for 650 Ghana cedis. And Mr. Speaker, sugar, a 50 kg bag of sugar, that used to sell at 870 Ghana cedis, Mr. Speaker. In Axi, in my hometown, Mr. Speaker, is selling at 470 cedis. So some of us, Mr. Speaker, were not surprised at all when the Finance Minister came here to give us the realities with the micro indicators. Mr. Speaker, that is the truth of the matter. And so, for the Finance Minister to come here to tell the world the state of affairs as to where inflation is, some of us didn't doubt it. Because, Mr. Speaker, the CEOs, the people out there, the international rating agencies are all commending the Finance Minister for a good job done. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, what magic did Akufo-Addo do that Kenofurata, who's watching us somewhere in the U.S., couldn't do? Mr. Speaker, the amendment of the PFM Act, the commitment authority was the magic he did. Physical discipline, Mr. Speaker, physical discipline. Now, Mr. Speaker, to mop up revenue, Mr. Speaker, the Finance Minister, in his own wisdom, Mr. Speaker, has revolutionized the VAT system. Mr. Speaker, what is happening at the port, where an IT system, Mr. Speaker, has been implemented to up our revenue, is magic. So, Mr. Speaker, as much as stabilizing the economy, the Finance Minister, knowing so well that 80% of our economy is informal, had to find innovative ways to mop up our revenue. Mr. Speaker, these are basic things that the Finance Minister under Akufo-Addo, with Dr. Baumia, couldn't do that magic. Mr. Speaker, let me proceed. I'm so happy that when the Finance Minister reported, he was able to indicate to us some of the payments he has made. And Mr. Speaker, I want to speak about the energy sector. Because, Mr. Speaker, if you want the economy to translate into the pockets of Ghanaians, Mr. Speaker, solving the energy crisis is a solution. Because, Mr. Speaker, when there's stable electricity, the woman who has coal store in Kumasi can predict, can bet on reliable energy, so that when she is going for loans to invest in her business, she will have that confidence. Mr. Speaker, on page 6, on pages Mr. Speaker, almost 6 billion out of the energy sector has been settled. Mr. Speaker, what it is that the previous government was just kicking out the legacy debts. And this government and Akufo-Addo says, no, that is not the way to go, so let's settle it. Mr. Speaker, 1 million barrels of crude oil have been sent to Tor, knowing too well that, Mr. Speaker, when the value chain is integrated, there's going to be more jobs. Mr. Speaker, Centrum is also performing. So basically, Mr. Speaker, I wish to conclude that this budget review that was presented by Akufo-Addo has brought hope to the Ghanaian economy. There is investment confidence, Mr. Speaker, predictability of the economy, Mr. Speaker. So let's commend Honorable Akufo-Addo, and I know that in his home, Chairman to me is also commended Akufo-Addo for a good job done. I know in a
Remember, your time is up. Honourable member on the list is Honourable Samia Oku.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to also contribute to the mid-year fiscal policy review presented by Minister Akufo-Addo on behalf of President Mahama. Mr. Speaker, young Ghanaians are asking a simple question of this review, and that's what I want the Deputy Minister to also answer on his way home. 6 months into 2026, is it easier to find a decent work in Ghana by young people? No. Learn a useful skill or build a business that survives in a sojaman? No. On the evidence, the answer is no. This review reads like an inventory of activity, not a record of impact. And inventories, Mr. Speaker, do not pay rent in Accra. Inventory of activity does not pay school fees or feed anyone. Mid-year review should be a report card, Mr. Speaker, not a register of activities as presented by Minister Forsen. It must show what has changed in the lives of our young people, not what government started or also paid for. The review does not show improvement in the youth labor market. Mr. Speaker, it reports national unemployment at 12.8% over the first 3 quarters of 2025. But the Ghana Statistical Service puts unemployment among those aged between 15 to 35 at 21.9%. Nearly 1.95 million outside employment, education or training. That is a population the size of Kumasi sitting idle and doing nothing. Yet this review offers no youth baseline, no reduction target, and no number entering sustained work. This is a tragedy. Government cannot ask this House to accept as progress a youth jobs record that it refuses to measure. The Honourable Akufo-Addo did justice to the issue of the 800,000 job claim. And Mr. Speaker, interestingly, young people cannot eat projection or pay rent with a World Bank formula. In Ghana, we don't pay rent with a World Bank formula. And because the review never separates forecasts from people actually employed, the claim cannot be tested. It can only be recited by Minister Forsen. The National Apprenticeship Program, Mr. Speaker, records 4,350 enrollment and 45 million payment, that's roughly 10,000 cedis each, with no count of completion. Certificate, tools, or jobs. 1 million coders program reports 140,000 registration, 40,000 enrollment, and 28,000 completing at least one module, which is neither a qualification nor a job. This government counts young people going in and falls silent in how many came out of work. Again, Section 17 of Act 939, Mr. Speaker, gives the National Youth Authority 5% of the DACF as of right. In the first half of 2025, it receives 5 million, about 0.6% of its entitlement. Technically, 60 pesos for every 10 cedis owed. Mr. Speaker, In the 2026 formula approved on 17th March by this House, the authority does not appear at all. So zero from a body that drew 76.4 million under Akufo-Addo in 2017, 85.7 million under Akufo-Addo in 2018, and 71.2 million in 2019. Mr. Speaker, as for the 24-hour market, it's now the replacement for the 24-hour economy. Mr. Speaker, interestingly, what this government is trying to do is to rebrand stores and stores in suit with red and white and black tie in green suit and sell it to us as a 24-hour economy. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I clearly see no hope in this review, and on behalf of the NPP and Dr. Bawumia, I would like to conclude by saying that whatever the Ghanaian youth are going through today is just a phase. For this nightmare will end in 2029. Now for this phase shall pass, because the battle remains the Lord's. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, I give the floor to Honourable Suleimana Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, clearly, Dr. Akufo-Addo has demonstrated that the challenges we face in this country was as a result of reckless expenditure and poor leadership. Mr. Speaker, between 2022 and January 2025, the cedi depreciated. Inflation went as high as 54% in 2022. Mr. Speaker, interest rates surged. Mr. Speaker, international credit agencies downgraded Ghana. What did the finance minister do? Mr. Speaker, these choices did not just happen. These choices are as a result of reckless expenditure, binge borrowing. Mr. Speaker, choices about accountability. So the finance minister, Mr. Speaker, introduced policies to reduce this recklessness and expenditures. Mr. Speaker, look at, if you watch the Public Accounts Committee report for 2024, if you take ECG, Mr. Speaker, 13 items, ECG exceeded its own budget for all the 13 items. Mr. Speaker, how did the finance minister solve this problem? He brought a bill to this House to pass commitment authorization. Mr. Speaker, for every ministry or department or agency, before your authorization reaches the finance minister, your minister, the sector minister must know. This brought the sector ministers direct control of expenditures in their various sectors. Mr. Speaker, so today, if you see that expenditure has been controlled, it is not magic. It is because of this singular bill that was passed into act by this House called commitment authorization. Mr. Speaker, apart from commitment authorization, this is a budget that set aside money ahead of expenditure. Mr. Speaker, some time ago, there was money in the sinking fund. After COVID, these monies have been dissipated. Mr. Speaker, Finance Minister Akufo-Addo and President Mahama are building the sinking fund so that we can pay for our commitments in the future. As of July 2022, as of July 2026, 15.6 billion has been accrued into the sinking fund in anticipation that by the end of the year 2026, 30 billion will be accrued so that the debt that will be due in 2026 will be paid. Mr. Speaker, it means that this government looks ahead. We will not wait until we are declared bankrupt. We will not wait until we cannot pay for our debts. We will not wait until Fitch, Moody, and other rating agencies downgrade this economy. Mr. Speaker, if you go through this budget, you will see that one of the issues that our colleagues talked about is that Akufo-Addo was not spending. But the media review budget has demonstrated that we are spending in the right places. Mr. Speaker, as we speak now, for the first time, we are in the second quarter. District assemblies have been paid their second quarters. Mr. Speaker, all the statutory funds have been honored. Mr. Speaker, if you watch our energy sector, $1.2 billion have been paid to the IPPs. $700 million have been paid to our international obligations for international obligations. Mr. Speaker, 21 billion Ghana cedis have also been paid as part of our debt. I want to commend the Minister for Finance for such a wonderful job, and to the commitment and then the discipline that he has introduced in the public financial management system in this country. And I'm sure that, as the Minister says, country have been set for growth in the future. And the 2027 budget is a new Ghana, is the new economy that we
Honourable members, I think by agreement we have to pause with a contribution or the comment on the statement. Having taken 5-5. So yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we will take motion number 12 and 13. Motion number 12.
Yes, Honourable Deputy. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I think we can take that one.
Honourable members, motion number 12 by the chairman of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move the motion number 12 on today's order paper, page 10. Mr. Speaker, that notwithstanding the provision of Order 1041 of the Standing Orders, which requires that a motion shall not be debated until at least 2 sitting days have elapsed after the notice to move the motion is given. The motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee on Energy on the following I be taken today. So I move, Mr. Speaker.
All members, motion move and seconder.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
All members, motion move and seconded. It is for the consideration of the House. This is a procedural motion. I'll put a question. All those in favor say aye. Those against say no. All members, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted. We then move on to motion number 13, which is a consequential motion. Chairman of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move the motion number 13 on today's order paper, page 11. That this Honourable House adopts the report of the Committee on Energy on the motion 13I today. Mr. Speaker, I so submit your committee's report and request that the Hansa Department will capture the entirety of the report as being read, as I take the justification, the government consultation, recommendation, and conclusion. Mr. Speaker, I would like colleagues to understand that one joint parliamentary memorandum was submitted to the House, and therefore the motion, our report also captured all the 3 items that are indicated. So our report is just one report. Mr. Speaker, justification. Ghana's electricity generation and procurement landscape has over the past decade accumulated structural, financial, and contractual weaknesses that have resulted in unsustainable payment obligation for the ECG and the government. The rapid expansion of installed capacity, much of it driven by the take-or-pay PPAs, created a persistent imbalances between the revenues generated at the retail end of the market and the obligations owed to the IPPs. These imbalances contributed significantly to arrears accumulation, weakening cash flows across the value chain, and exposed government to costly fiscal intervention. Mr. Speaker, the problem is further compounded by the impact of the currency depreciation on dollar-denominated PPAs, inconsistent fuel supply arrangements, and the absence of harmonized contractual terms among the generation partners. These factors, together with ECG operational challenges, continue to undermine the financial viability of the power sector. Execution of the amended restated PPAs, GCSAs, PCOAs, Master Gas Supply Agreement, and arrears restructuring agreement will help to restore long-term financial sustainability to power sector, ensure contractual clarity, reduce fiscal exposure, and stabilize the entire electricity value chain. Mr. Speaker, government consultation with stakeholders. Government has subjected the renegotiation agreement to extensive consultation among the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, Electricity Corporation of Ghana, Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, the Energy Commission, the National Petroleum Corporation Ghana, the Ghana Grid Company Limited, GRIDCO, Volta River Authority, Ghana National Gas Company, and the civil society stakeholders. All institutions validated the renegotiation structures as technically sound, fiscally prudent, and aligned with national reform objectives. The Office of the Attorney General and the Ministry of Finance also reviewed.
And in conclusion.
Thank you very much.
Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, the committee finds the renegotiated agreements to be beneficial to the country as they reduce the fiscal burden on government in respect of already accrued legacy debt, as well as future payment obligation associated with the relevant agreement. Mr. Speaker, in view of the foregoing, the committee respectfully recommends the House to adopt this report and approve by resolution the amended restated government consent and support agreement between the government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by Minister of Finance, and Sem Power Generation in respect of the provision of certain commitment for the benefit of the company. Amended restated put-call option agreement among the government of Ghana, of the Republic of Ghana, represented by Minister of Finance, the Electricity Company of Ghana Limited, Early Power Holdings Limited, Quantum Gas Terminal Limited, and Early Power Limited in respect of amendment and restatement of the original put-call option agreement. And finally, Mr. Speaker, the amended restated government consent and support agreement between the government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Minister of Finance, and Amandi Energy Limited in respect of the provision of certain commitments for the benefit of the company, in accordance with Article 1815 of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, so respectfully submitted. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr.
Honourable members, motion move report presented. Any seconder?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in supporting the motion, this amended and restated government agreement between the IPPs. Mr. Speaker, in doing so, we all know that in this country for some time now, we've been facing challenges when it comes to power situation due to, Mr. Speaker, haphazardly contracting a power purchase agreement in the energy sector with these IPPs. Mr. Speaker, it has caused a lot of damage to Ghana's reputation in terms of payment for these IPPs. So I would like to thank the previous administration and now the Akufo-Addo government for starting this project. So far, we are combining all these IPPs together, about 2,257 megawatts of power, whom we are trying for this August House to approve this agreement. Mr. Speaker, accumulated structural and financial contractual weaknesses are the causes of this power purchase agreement that has been done in the previous years. Mr. Speaker, this agreement, execution of this amended and restated power purchase agreement, Mr. Speaker, it comprises of gas sales agreement, pool call option agreement, which means that any time or when this agreement elapses, we can, as a country, can buy whatever equipment or whatever machinery the IPPs have, or they also can call for other issues. Mr. Speaker, the benefit is significant because we are going to make savings of about $250 million US, which means when this agreement goes through, and again, the capacity charges also will reduce. Mr. Speaker, when capacity charges reduce, we expect that the ordinary consumer in this country also has to benefit, because after this agreement, definitely based on the renegotiating agreement, the capacity charges will definitely go down because it's part of this agreement. So the ordinary consumer also has to also feel it that yes, this agreement that we laid in Parliament, we've benefited from it. Mr. Speaker, before this agreement also is going to give, according to the agreement, it's going to give a greater tariff affordability, cost-reflective efficiencies. This is what we are expecting from the ECG and its other agencies. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I urge this August House that this amended and restated government concern and support agreement between the government of Ghana, of the Republic of Ghana, and the IPPs should be adopted in this House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Please, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to support motion number 13 on page 11 of today's order paper. Mr. Speaker, the committee was informed that government had opted for a comprehensive restructuring of the relevant agreements as opposed to maintaining the status quo or engaging in partial negotiation. Mr. Speaker, the approach adopted by government offers a holistic renegotiation of the terms of the power purchase agreements, combining multiple interventions such as restructuring capacity payments, revising fuel supply frameworks, aligning commercial terms with demand forecast, and exploring portfolio level refinancing. Right Honourable Speaker, the adopted option delivers the strongest results for government, including significant fiscal savings, redesigned payment structures, and reduced take-or-pay exposure and renegotiated arrears and discounts. Greater tariff affordability as cost-reflective efficiency begins to materialize across the value chain. Right Honorable Speaker, the other benefits are enhanced system reliability as generation is reprofiled to match actual demand and reduce curtailment. And finally, Mr. Speaker, the last benefit is a long-term contract sustainability, providing clarity to both government and IPPs and improving investor confidence. On the basis of the above, Mr. Speaker, I urge the House to adopt this report.
Honorable Collins.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to make brief comments on the reports presented by Chairman on the Energy Committee. And Mr. Speaker, I'm happy about this particular report because it's a continuation of earlier efforts started by previous governments. If you recall, Mr. Speaker, between 2012 and 2016, during the heat of the Doomsday era, a lot of IPPs were signed. At the time, we had argued, when we came to power, that some of the terms of the agreement were not in the best interests of the Ghanaian people. Indeed, I recall His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo doing SONA, complaining bitterly that the country was spending close to about $600 million monthly on excess payments due to the take-or-pay charges. At the time, some of our colleagues on the other side did not agree. We had started the renegotiation process, and I'm happy the current government has continued with that process. Currently, we are told that at the conclusion of the negotiations, Ghana is due to make savings of close to 250 million Ghana cedi. And I side with my ranking member that if all these renegotiations are completed, it should reflect to the benefit of the ordinary Ghanaian, i.e. with regards to tariffs, electricity tariffs and all that. So, Mr. Speaker, we are all for this, just that we are happy that for once, our colleagues on the other side have once again agreed with us. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, minority leadership. Yes, minority leadership.
Mr. Speaker, I'm yielding to Honorable.
Yes, Dr. Kabiru.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first and foremost, let me commend the Energy Committee for the work they have done on behalf of Parliament in considering this amended and renegotiated agreement in respect of power purchase agreement the government of Ghana has entered with various independent power producers in the country. Mr. Speaker, without rehashing what other presenters have made, I just want to put on record again that we have been told that the combined efforts of the current negotiation and the negotiation that took place in the previous government has brought our total relief in terms of the discount we have gotten to some 245.8 million United States dollars. Mr. Speaker, this is commendable because this is money that we would have been paying, and this is money that will have put some strain on our fiscal, and this is money that is going to give relief to the taxpayer, the Ghanaian taxpayer. Mr. Speaker, but it is important to note that whilst we commend the government for continuing with an initiative that was started by the previous government, as I argued the other day, under the leadership of Mr. Osofo-Manfo, we need to put a record that there were certain issues that were raised at the committee level. Mr. Speaker, one of such is the arrears clearance plan. Mr. Speaker, at the committee, what was so central and what was a concern to most members was the plan by government to clear the arrears. Because we do remember that in this House, the 1 cedi levy was introduced as part of the strategy of government to address the energy sector shortfalls. Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Finance explained, and that as part of their budgetary allocation, they will make provisions to that effect. And in fact, they reference Appendix 3C of the 2026 budget as a basis and as justification that they are making adequate budgetary provision for that. But Mr. Speaker, what was not clear was that the question of the fact that your budget execution is a function of revenue was not addressed. Mr. Speaker, why do we say so? Under the previous regime, up until now, we are paying because as part of the IMF conditionality, Mr. Speaker, we have to stay current on the service of energy sector debt. The worry that we have is that after the IMF has exited town, will government still be committed to this? We had the word of the representative of the finance minister that they will be committed to that, and that as part of budgetary allocation every year, they will be making, they will service this particular debt. Mr. Speaker, but we just want to urge them. We want to urge them that this has to be part of the priority. Mr. Speaker, the last issue was the fact that they are still negotiating, for instance, to bring, especially as part of the energy mix, the solar, rate, the charges. Mr. Speaker, as closely related to the point we mentioned, we entered into contracts, into arrangement where unit per power charges were so exorbitant. And likely they are now admitting that we can actually reduce costs in respect of that particular unit per unit charges. Mr. Speaker, if this is done, we expect that the constant increase in utility prices, especially electricity prices, will be addressed in the near future. With this view, Mr. Speaker, I want to support my colleagues from the Energy Committee and to recommend to the House to accept the report of the committee. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, majority.
Would allow Honorable Baba Jamal to have a bite.
Yes, Honorable Baba Jamal.
Thank you, Leader. Mr. Speaker, I rise to also support this motion and also to say that the assurance that we had is that as we talk now, the government is current on all payments to IPP, the negotiated price. They were able to negotiate, and I must also commend the consultant who was able to save this government over 15% of the debt that was that has accrued over the years. And so, as we talk now, government is current on all payments to IPPs, and I think that is commendable, and the government should be commended, the Ministry of Finance to be commended for that. It is also important that for all of us to know that there is a structure that ensures that by 2029, all debts, legacy debts, will be paid. That is also an assurance that will guarantees that there will be continuous supply of energy and our homes will always be powered. So that is also commendable, and we need to commend the Ministry of Finance for that, how far they have brought this country. Finally, Mr. Speaker, another assurance that gives all of us comfort is that those circumstances that led to those accrued legacy debts, they have been able to ensure that they've developed strategies to ensure that we won't accrue those debts again. And one of the things that they made us know at the committee level is that because of the stability of our currency now, it has ensured that we don't have problems in terms of accruing more debt and debt and debt. So with all these strategies, I think that we have to commend the government for what it is doing. And with these few words...
Honourable Member, hold on. The Speaker should take the chair. You can continue.
Yes. So the final thing I wanted to bring to the notice of the House is that all the things that led to those legacy debts growing from year to year, one of the major things was the currency. The currency continued to depreciate, and as it depreciates, and all these agreements are signed in dollars. So as the currency depreciates, the debts goes high. And so for having been able to stabilize, first bringing our currency, to giving it some strength, and also stabilizing it, I think that has also helped to ensure that the debts are paid and we won't accrue more into the future. So that guarantees that we can keep our lights on, and this is commendable, and the government should be commended for that. On these few words, I want to support the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much. I'm reliably informed that you are the last contributor to make the comments, and I'm to put the question. So those in favor of the adoption of the report of the committee on item 13, say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. The report of the committee has accordingly been adopted. We move on to the consequential resolution, which is item 14 on the order paper. Is the minister available?
Mr. Speaker, the Minister for Energy is not in the chamber today, but the Deputy Minister is here, so the application is for the Deputy Minister to take the resolution on behalf of the Minister.
Are you seeking for this, or you are saying it's for him?
Seeking leave.
Yes.
For the Deputy to take the resolution on behalf of the Minister.
Yes, minority from bench.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have no objection.
Thank you so much. Deputy Minister, you may move the motion now.
Right Honourable Speaker, with your permission, I rise to present Resolution 14 as presented in order paper, page 12 and 13. Whereas by this provision, Article 181 of Constitution and Section 55 and 56 of the Public Financial Management Act 2016, Act 921, the terms and conditions of all government borrowing shall be laid before Parliament and shall not come into operation unless the terms and conditions are approved by a resolution of Parliament in accordance with Article 181 of the Constitution. Pursuant to the provision of the said Article 181 of the
Yes, Honourable Deputy Minister, you've done that already, and so I will listen to the House for a seconder.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion, the resolution.
Honourable members, motion for the adoption of the resolution moved and seconded for the consideration of the House. It's a consequential resolution on a motion you've already adopted. And so I'll proceed to put the question unless the House says otherwise. I put the question. Those in favor of the adoption of the resolution number 14 on the order paper, say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The resolution numbered 14 on the order paper is accordingly adopted. Yes, Majority Leader, any indication?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we will take addendum order paper the addendum order paper 1 to present some reports itemized as 1 Roman numeral 1 to 5.
Honourable members, the Majority Leader is asking for leave to vary the order of business by taking order paper addendum, particularly item 1, with the representation of papers. Minority from bench, what do you say to that?
Very well, Mr. Speaker. We don't have any.
Thank you. Honorable members, please, I hope you have copies of the order paper addendum.
Yeah,
we will.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes?
Yes, so the ones that we actually want to take is 1 Roman numeral 3, 4, and 5.
Honorable members, I just want to make sure that you have copies of the order paper addendum. Yes, because it's addendum, addendums are just done based on instructions on the floor. And so it wouldn't have reached the IC department to feed it on your console. So you have to be giving hard copies. Please, Archers, your leadership have shown that there are copies of them, but it's important you also get. In the meantime, since these are just for presentation of papers, I will call on the chair of the committees on item 1, Roman 3, 4, and 5 to proceed to present the papers if they are ready. Yes. Table. The chairman has presented the papers, so you have to read.
Report of the Finance Committee on the request for multi-year expenditure commitments to engage a service provider to assist with the implementation of the fiscal electronic device policy for the Ghana Revenue Authority. Report of the Finance Committee on the request for a multi-year expenditure commitment to engage a firm to develop and deploy the Ghana Domestic Revenue Collection Platform. Report of the Finance Committee on the request for a multi-year expenditure commitment to engage Principal Consult Limited to develop, implement, and deploy cross-border e-commerce VAT monitoring and collection system, the Sinital system for the Ghana Revenue Authority.
Honorable members, the following papers numbered 1 Roman 3, 4, and 5 are accordingly presented, and they are for distribution to all members of Parliament. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, if we can skip to addendum item 2, presentation of first reading of bills. We had earlier withdrawn the Cocoa Board Bill 2026, and the Minister now seeks to relay the bill and request for the bill to be taken under certificate of urgency. So, Mr. Speaker, if we could take item number 2, first reading of Ghana Cocoa Board Bill. And again, Mr. Speaker, with your leave, and the leave of the House, if the Deputy Finance Minister can present the bill on behalf of the Minister for Finance, in whose name the presentation of the first reading of the bill is advertised.
Yes.
The Speaker, we are not opposed. Just wondering what the agency is all about. If the Minister wants to perhaps give us some explanation why they need this agency.
Yes, we will first have to get it presented, and then in doing so, it's a request, and so you tell us what it's about. So, Deputy Minister for Finance, item 2, please, is for presentation.
An act to establish the Ghana Cocoa Board to regulate, oversee, and monitor activities in the cocoa value chain to support the cultivation of cocoa, undertake the buying, selling, and export of cocoa, to promote value addition to cocoa, and to provide for related matters.
Yes, Deputy Minister, could you now tell us what it's about? Majority Leader, yes.
Mr. Speaker, my understanding of our rules is that a bill is to be referred to the committee, and the committee is to make a determination whether or not the bill is of an urgent nature. Order 160, Rule 1 and Rule 2 is clear on that. A sponsor may submit a bill to Parliament without publication in the Gazette, where the sponsor of the bill considers the bill to be of an urgent nature. So once there's no Gazette notification, we can presume that it is going to be taken as an urgent bill. And then Order 162 says that the Speaker shall refer a bill to the appropriate committee for determination of the urgency or otherwise after the presentation and first reading. Where the committee determines that the bill is of an urgent nature, the committee shall inform the House for a report. Where it is determined by the appropriate committee of the House that a particular bill is of an urgent nature, the provisions of Article 1063 shall apply, and the bill may be taken through all the stages in one day. So, Mr. Speaker, there is no requirement that a certain deputy whip can demand of the minister an explanation as to why he wants the bill taken under certificate of urgency, unless my reading of Order 1601 and 2 are overtaken by some other order that dictates how, certificate of urgency is dealt with in this House.
Majority Leader, we haven't reached there yet. It is simply saying that there is something you are bringing to the House, and there is indication that it's of urgent nature. We don't have copies of it. So could you tell us what it's about before we now go to the next stage of whether it's urgent or it's not urgent and whether I should refer it to other kind of things? It's just a request, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are requesting that this bill be considered under certificate of urgency because...
No. Don't talk about urgency. What is the bill about?
Mr. Speaker, the bill, if you recall, we earlier on laid the Cocoa Board Amendment bill sometime last year. We came to the House to seek the leave of the House to withdraw and bring a new bill because we intend to consolidate all the amendments that have happened over the years into a new bill. So we have a one-stop shop of a bill for Ghana Cocoa Board. This is going to regulate the cocoa sector and to empower Cocoa Board to implement their mandate. And that is what we are seeking to do with the bill that we are laying before the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much, Deputy Minister. Accordingly, I'll refer the bill to a Committee on Finance with the support of the leadership of the Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs to then determine whether the request of the sponsor of the bill that it be taken under a certificate of agency is such a bill that should be taken by this House under a certificate of agency. So that's the first thing that they will determine. Then from there we can move on. It's so referred. My deputy is on his feet. Let me listen to him first.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, thank you. The referral to Finance Committee and the addition of the Constitutional Affairs, I am thinking that since cocoa industry has been flirting between finance and agric, in the erstwhile administration it was under agric, agric, and now it's back to finance. Nobody knows tomorrow. So I am thinking that if we can also probably add the leadership of agric committee to also look at the agriculture aspect of it, because it's critical that cocoa actually belongs to agriculture, but because of the financial issues, we always place it under finance committee. So that's my angle to it.
Well, the question to be determined now is the one of agency. We are not going to the subject matter first. And that's why I thought they needed the legal people to assist them to determine whether it's of agency. That's the report that will come to us. After we agree with them that it's of agency, we can add the subject matter committee. But actually, I didn't know the sector was flirting between finance and food and agri. I didn't know the sector was, that cocoa board was flirting between finance and the Minister of Food and Agri. Now you are drawing my attention to it. But, well, we can kill two birds with one stone. We can just add the leadership of the Committee on Agri to be part of the consideration, even of the agency. There's no harm in that, as so direct. Yes, Deputy Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, is always very...
Deputy Minority Whip. Sorry.
That's all, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much. Right on, Speaker. It's always very gratifying to have you in the chair. And this is because we get to learn. Speaker, and I'm not sending us back, but just based on what my respected majority leader raised earlier, when he had to look at 160 of the standing orders. But this is a bill that was withdrawn. So, right on, Speaker, that comes therefore under 173. And I perused 173 and I read to consider 173, right on, Speaker, with your permission, just because I need some more education. And it says that withdrawal of bills. 171, a sponsor may withdraw a bill by leave of the House. And that has been done. Then 2 says that where a sponsor of a bill withdraws a bill and intends to reintroduce the bill, the provisions of Order 159 shall apply. So, respectfully, I went to 159 to look at what 159 is saying. And yes, 159, which talks about presentation of bills and gazette notification. And then it says that 1591, subject to the Constitution and except as provided for in Orders 160 and 162, a bill shall not be introduced in the House unless the bill has been published in the Gazette at least 14 days before the date of the introduction of the bill. Mr. Speaker, I just need your direction and education on this. Then I do not have any issues. Just for you to educate me some more. Thank you.
Well, I'm aware of those provisions. And what you just read yourself, you realize that the 173 and 173 clause 2 says where a sponsor of a bill withdraws a bill and intends to reintroduce the bill, the provisions of Order 159 shall apply. So you are right to go to 159. Now, 159.1 says, subject to the Constitution, and except as provided for in orders 160 and 162. A bill shall not be introduced in the House unless the bill has been published in the Gazette at least 14 days before the date of the introduction of the bill. So you come to Order 160 and 162, you are subject to them, and then you are back to square one. You understand? And so there is no need for what happened earlier on, because 160 says a sponsor may submit a bill to Parliament without publication in the Gazette, where the sponsor of the bill considers the bill to be of an urgent nature. And that is exactly what the sponsor has done. But because we don't have the copy, and you wanted just to know what the bill is about, that's why I accepted your request. And he just told us that, oh, it's the same bill that you considered and proposed so many amendments, and there were earlier amendments, so we want to have a compendium, one single act covering all the areas. That is why we are reintroducing a new decision. That satisfies the provisions. So you don't need really for him to have come earlier than your request. So everything, I believe, is done according to the rules. Yes, please.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I'm very much obliged.
Thank you. Honourable members, we then will proceed to refer, for purposes of clarity, the bill to the three committees. The main committee is the Committee on Finance, to be supported by the leadership of the committees of Constitutional and Legal and Agric. It is so referred. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we will take item 3 on the addendum order paper with your indulgence.
Yes, item 3 is a procedural motion, and that is to be taken by the chairman of the committee. This is on the fiscal electronic device policy. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that item number 3 on today's order motion be moved now. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Today's order paper.
Is today's order paper addendum?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion.
Procedural motion number 3 on the order paper addendum moved and seconded. I put the question. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. We now move to item 4 on the order paper addendum. Yes, Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that today item number 4 on today's order paper addendum be moved now. Mr. Speaker, in so doing, I would like to present your committee's report focusing on essential elements of the report and request that the Hazard Department may capture the entire report as having been read. Mr. Speaker, the fiscal electronic device request from the Minister for Finance was laid in this House and referred to your committee. The committee met with the Minister of Finance, led by the Deputy Minister for Finance and the Minister himself, together with officers from the Ghana Revenue Authority. The committee...
Chairman, I see the Deputy Minority Whip on his feet. Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, my committee members didn't have the report, but the Deputy Whip is providing it now.
Yeah, Chairman, you may continue.
Mr. Speaker, the government seeks to engage a service provider to support the implementation of the fiscal electronic device policy for the government, the Ghana Revenue Authority. In 2018, the Taxation Use of Fiscal Electronic Device Act 2018, Act 966, was enacted to make the use of fiscal electronic devices mandatory for the specified taxation purposes and point of sale as part of efforts to improve tax administration and compliance. Mr. Speaker, it has taken quite a while for that policy to take off. The ministry is now requesting Parliament to give it approval under Article 181 of the Constitution and Section 33(1) of the Public Financial Management Act, which requires Parliament's approval to engage in multi-year transactions that commit the state to extended periods of expenditure. In view of that, the Minister has come to seek approval to enable him commit the state to a 5-year expenditure framework to implement the fiscal electronic device. Mr. Speaker, having looked at the various arrangements that have been made, your committee unfortunately could not agree on consensus because our colleagues on the other side were of the view that there is already a service provider called Ghana.gov, which had implemented. Okay. Mr. Speaker, conclusions and recommendations. The committee carefully examined the requests for approval to engage a service provider to assist with the implementation of the fiscal electronic device for the Ghana Revenue Authority. The committee is satisfied that the proposal represents a significant reform aimed at modernizing VAT administration, improving tax compliance, reducing revenue leakages, and strengthening domestic revenue mobilization through the deployment of secure digital technology. Your committee therefore recommends by consensus the adoption of the committee's report and approve same for the Minister to proceed.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to second the motion and speak to your committee's report.
Actually, this opportunity, you took it from me. I haven't granted you the opportunity. I didn't ask for any second. But please, you may go on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Inheriting seconding the motion, the permission is granted. Mr. Speaker, over the years, we've talked about this electronic device that we deploy to many of the shops so that at least we can get the real revenue customers are paying to the state. But, Mr. Speaker, there is no proper interface between those shops and the GRA. So you go to a mall or any other shop, you patronize their businesses, you pay the right taxes, but government doesn't get the right taxes that you pay. Sometimes they are declared, and some of them too are running multiple devices. So you think you paid your VAT, you pay everything that is expected of you, but the real money doesn't get to the government kitty. So it's not a new tax we are introducing. Just efficiency we are trying to bring on board so that we deploy this POS and it is linked to GRA system. So proper reconciliation will be done. So by the end of the day, if 20 cedis is collected from you, same is transferred to GRA so that GRA can account to government. Unlike previous regime, some even will give you manual receipts. And when manual receipt is issued, you think you paid the real taxes, but government doesn't get that money. So this is an innovative way of trying to get the real value of taxes paid to those individuals. And many of them are foreigners, Mr. Speaker. They take the money and they use the money to develop their own countries. And we are here complaining that we are paying taxes, but the money doesn't get to the national coffers. So I think this is a very innovative way of making sure we are getting the real taxes that we are paying. So nobody should go to town to say we are introducing new taxes. No, already we are paying the taxes. We are paying the taxes, but we want them to account for the taxes that we are paying. So I think this is very good innovation the minister is bringing. Let's all support it so that we get the real money for development. With these few words, I thank you for the opportunity.
Honourable members, motion moved and seconded is for the consideration of the House. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I was relating with the majority leader, so do 3 each and leadership. And 2 people have spoken from their side already.
You agree with the majority leader? Yes, majority leader, yes.
As for Habib, sometimes you don't know where he gets his mathematics from. Mr. Speaker, somebody has moved the motion, another person has seconded. Then you want to count the 2 people as part of the spokespersons of the majority side. You had the opportunity to have seconded the motion, which is what we always do. We move and you second. But you failed to second. So that's how come 2 people on our side have spoken. So as it is, we will still take the 2-2 from both sides and then, leadership.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, I think the time you were talking to the deputy whip, the majority leader was not paying attention. In fact, the Speaker did not call for a seconder of the motion, but he was already on his feet. So, Mr. Speaker, he didn't just say I second the motion and was back to his seat. He actually spoke to the report. So it can be counted as somebody who has spoken, even if we agree that the chairman of the committee moved the motion and presented the report. But that what the deputy whip did was actually speaking to the report. So we'll have 3 on our side and leadership. Then they will have 2 on their side and leadership so that we can make progress.
Anyway, what we can say is that once this issue has been raised, next time leadership you are discussing, please specifically state whether the mover and the seconder are part of the numbers you are agreeing upon. That will just solve the problem. But I think that having heard the mover and the seconder, you seem to have advantage. So let's give them the 3 and 2 on your side. Then leaders will come in. Please. Yes.
Thank you very much. Right, Honourable Speaker.
I think 5 minutes each, right? 5 minutes. Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to the report. Mr. Speaker, first and foremost, I want to correct and put on record that the committee never arrived at a consensus on the report, and for the report to have captured same, suggesting that there was unanimous and consensus by members of the committee on this report is to not state what transpired at the committee. Mr. Speaker, we on our side...
But let's be clear. Are you talking about consensus or you are talking about unanimity?
Mr. Speaker, we were not at consensus on this particular report. Mr. Speaker, the reason why we disagreed with the proposal by government, and which we communicated same, we thought same that would have been conveyed by the report for the basis of the House to appreciate the reason why we were finding it difficult to support. Mr. Speaker, this is a financial commitment, and they expect to commit government for indeterminate number of years. Because in the proposal, they have not even specified how many multi-year commitment they want to give us. That's the first reason. Mr. Speaker, the proposal and the memorandum did not specify the financial cost of this transaction to the people of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, you cannot commit the people of Ghana at large. And that is basically what they wanted to do. Mr. Speaker, in the report and the memorandum, they specified that they wanted to procure, for a start, some 40,000 electronic devices. Mr. Speaker, the cost of the devices, the cost of the SIM cards, the cost of the establishment of the Fed unit, the cost of infrastructure upgrade, none of which was presented. And at the committee, Mr. Speaker, when we requested for same, there was assurance that that we provided as a guide to the committee. Even as we speak and we sit in the House, Mr. Speaker, that has not been provided to the committee. That is the first reason why we thought that this agreement we cannot agree to. Mr. Speaker, the second reason is the fact that an assurance from the minister to the integration corps. Mr. Speaker, in the long run, businesses are expected to buy these devices and they are expected to, recover the cost through what they call depreciation recovery. Mr. Speaker, the cost of this intervention to small businesses and even requiring businesses to put costs upfront is actually affecting the short-term sustainability of businesses, Mr. Speaker. And that was the second reason why we objected to it. Mr. Speaker, the third reason why we objected to this was because there was no lack of clear enforcement strategy. Mr. Speaker, they drew from experiences from Rwanda, Kenya, and Uganda, Mr. Speaker. These countries have shown that enforcement of this strategy has been a difficulty for them. When we asked about the fact that the government should give us concrete enforcement strategy, Mr. Speaker, they were not even able to provide that with that. Mr. Speaker, even if they did, we expected that should have been in the report for the purpose of. Mr. Speaker, the fourth reason was the cost of technology by businesses. Mr. Speaker, even as a government, they don't know how much it's going to cost us. And yet, they want stakeholders to accept it. Mr. Speaker, the last point before my other colleagues will come in is the fact that the minister admitted, Mr. Speaker, that no consultation has been done yet. Even in the memorandum, Mr. Speaker, they have admitted that they are yet to do integration. And a simple question, Mr. Speaker, we ask, what is the assurance that the stakeholder will accept what you are proposing? Because you have not even done integration. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Parliament should not put the cart before the horse. The horse must always be before the cart. And if the minister is wanting that, is asking us to approve something that he is not even sure stakeholders will accept, then we'll be making mockery of this House to accept such a proposal that the people themselves have not been consulted. These were the reasons why, Mr. Speaker, we were of the view that this proposal would have to be, amended, and then they said they were not willing. In fact, Mr. Speaker, when we asked that this report should contain these views, Mr. Speaker, as you are seeing the report, none of our views were even captured. And they are even presenting it as if it is a decision of the whole committee. Mr. Speaker, it is expected, and this is going to be my last point, Mr. Speaker, your committees must be willing to capture the views of the minority, even when we are dissenting, so that the report would speak to them. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I beg that this House should reject this particular proposal and treat him. Thank you very much.
Yes, Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, all these concerns were raised and addressed by the minister himself, not even the deputy minister. And as a result, at no point was there a decision not to approve this report by consensus. But of course, this is an afterthought. If by afterthought, all the points that you raised that were explained away, you still want them to become your position, that is fine. But the areas where the reports were, no, I'm explaining, because he's attributing things to the committee, and I was the chair of the committee. And I'm saying that at no point did we even vote on this transaction. And therefore, at what point did they say that they were dissenting when we didn't even vote on the transaction? But, Mr. Speaker,
Chairman,
those are their concerns, there's no problem, Mr. Speaker.
The views that he has expressed, how come they are not captured in the report? If that's the situation, you have captured what the questions or issues that were raised and the explanations that were given by the minister. And that is made available to all of us.
Mr. Speaker,
The minister made it clear that what he is here to do is to get approval to now engage in procurement. And he does not want a situation where it affects the value of the quotations that he will receive. Because if he already puts in this report that he's going to pay so much to do this work, that the businesses already know how much the minister wants to pay. And it restricts him from getting a good value for the country. But it's not that he didn't know how much it will cost him. In fact, the minister indicated that the initial cost will be borne by GRA. The initial cost will be borne entirely by GRA. You see, you still want us to do the things that we refuse to do at committee.
Don't
you see,
interfere.
It doesn't make sense for us to tell the public that the government is willing to pay so much, and then you go to them looking for a better deal. It's not possible. So the minister made that clear. It's not that he doesn't know, but he made it clear. If today you still think that that is what you wanted to be captured, I have no problem. But it is not that those matters were not addressed by the minister, Mr. Speaker.
Well, the question actually I asked you was why you did not capture these questions and explanations. That would have satisfied the issue, because we know in procurement you may have a base or minimum, which usually you don't disclose before you do the tendering. That is the practice. Because if you do that, then there's the issue has already been in the air, and anybody going to give quotation will be looking at that figure. So it's usually not done in procurement, but you didn't capture this in the report. Anyway, the Deputy Minister, yes.
Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to add to the point the chairman made that in confidence, we even told the committee the indicative cost that GRA has gotten and explained to them that it is for the reason why, the reason that we are going to procurement. That is why we don't want to put the figure out there. So I think that is why the chairman did not want to reflect this in the report. But we mentioned in the committee, GRA was there, they mentioned the unit cost that they have combed around and have gotten. So I'm surprised that the members are here creating the impression that that figure was not given. Thank you.
Yes, Deputy Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think, Mr. Speaker, the member for Wale, he raised an issue that on the report that it should not be by consensus. And I wanted the chairman to make that correction, then we can speak to the issue, because his whole argument was that these matters that he raised on the floor of Parliament were reasons why this should not be by consensus. So if that report...
Well, the chairman has given us the basis that after the explanations, there was no issue that was raised for them to put the matter to a vote. You see, so you have a difficulty in saying, because if after the explanation nothing happened, then you take it that members are satisfied and there's consensus. When, please, at the committee level, even after the explanation is given and you disagree, you then call on the chairman to put the question to a vote. Then that time you get to know whether there's a consensus or no consensus, whether it's majority decision or unanimity or whatever. But once that did not happen, then the chairman will be hard put to say, well, he assumed that once there was no further issue, it's by consensus. That's an assumption which is rebuttable. And so you are now raising that issue. So let's listen to you. Yes.
Most grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to contribute. But before then, let me straighten one or two points raised by the chairman of the committee. Mr. Speaker, as a member of the Finance Committee and taking active participation in the program, I can say on record that at no point in time was the cost of this particular project disclosed to the committee, even in confidence. If the Honorable Minister will remember or recollect, it was about, GRA said they will be deploying about 40,000 devices, and they only disclosed the cost of a device, the possible cost of a device. But that doesn't constitute the cost of the project. The project goes beyond the cost of a device. We have integration cost, we have service fee, we have all the other components that goes into this. And so properly so-called, as the minister and the other side knows, if you are bringing such an engagement report to the committee, the fiscal analysis should clearly tell us the estimated cost of the project, and that was not disclosed. So please, let's not let it appear as if some disclosures were made to members of the committee, which we as members are being disingenuous. That is not the case. Mr. Speaker, the second point is that, and you can call for the transcript of the meeting, we had indicated the reasons why we were opposed to this device. The chairman cannot say that in the course of the discussion there were not clearly stated opposition to this, to say that it shouldn't be by consensus but by majority decision. So this is your committee. We have the transcript of it, we have the clerks of your committee. If they put it to strict proof, you can call for the transcript, and I'm saying that clearly in our conversations we had indicated that this, because of several factors, this cannot be. Now, Mr. Speaker, let me add one or two arguments that has already been espoused. This project is about VAT enhancement. It is clear that we have a VAT gap of about 60% that the government will want to close. This law has also been provided already in 2018, and GRA had initiated steps to cure this issue of VAT collection. The first was the introduction of an EVAT system. The EVAT system, a company was contracted, and the company has started working on the EVAT. There is no report that was granted the committee on explanation as to the status of the EVAT and why we want to end the EVAT and go into POS. Because these are all devices, or these are all arrangements to improve VAT collection. The second point is that government in this House, this ninth Parliament, had indicated that they want to set up an integrated tax administration system, which the Minister of Finance came to this House as part of the IMF conditionalities to establish to improve tax collection. In the ITAS, Mr. Speaker, there are provisions for a back and front end to collect VAT. So why are we trying to, and the ITAS, according to the Minister of Finance, is supposed to be effective within the next 2 years. So on what basis are we reintroducing this multi-year contract, where we are not too clear how many years is going to serve, as my colleague raised, what specific functionality it is going to do that the integrated tax administration system will not do? And so these are germane questions which we have not received answers. And not just for us as minority, but as the people of Ghana, because it comes at a cost. The taxpayer cannot be burdened because we want to engage companies. We are saying that there should be full disclosure and clarity in terms of the way forward in closing a VAT gap by GRA. It doesn't leave to the extent of just calling an engagement with a company. What is even the intention that when this company comes, is it going to operate independent of the tax administration system? There is no clarity to that effect. And so, Mr. Speaker, your committee is of the view, and this is a recommendation we are making to this House. This House, we are one. We want the common good of the people of Ghana. We are not rushing matters because we want to do it. In fact, as we speak, when the Minister of Finance presented budget, he told us that VAT has grown by 15%. So every day in and out, GRA has strategies to close in the VAT gap and to improve. But to bring in service providers, we have history. We have talked about people that have been
Yes, Honourable Member, your time is up. 5 minutes, 5 minutes. So I Yes, you've done very well. You made your point very clear. Yes, please. Honorable Emmanuel Bejra. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to add my voice to the recommendation by the Finance Committee to the House to adopt this report and approve the request for approval to engage a firm to develop the Ghana Domestic Revenue Collection Platform. Mr. Speaker, actually, I'm a bit shocked. Quite 30 minutes ago, the opposition were talking about revenue generation. We're talking about the government not hitting the revenue target. Now you have a system that will enhance revenue generation in the country, and yet you are not supporting it. The minority side is rejecting this approval. The recommendation is being done only by the majority side of the committee. Mr. Speaker, what are we doing to ourselves? When you say A, you are saying B. When you say B, you are saying A. What are we doing? Mr. Speaker, let me quote from the background information. Mr. Speaker, the proposed Ghana Domestic Revenue Collection Platform will serve as a unified digital services and payment platform that enables the collection of taxes, levies, administrative taxes, and other government revenue through single interface. Mr. Speaker, which report are you referring to? This is what we are saying. Mr. Speaker, this report has a tendency. Which report is that? Request for approval to engage a firm to develop the Ghana Domestic Revenue Collection Platform. Mr. Speaker, I've not been given the correct report. Mr. Speaker, this report has a tendency to avoid tax evasion in the country. This will enhance revenue collection in the country. So I will urge them, Mr. Speaker, to change their mind. I was expecting them to stand up and say that, Chairman, let us change the report and make it a consensus. Mr. Speaker, I want them to assist the House to adopt this report and approve the engagement. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I write to comment on the report on the fiscal electronic device that the Ministry of Finance through GRA wants to deploy. Mr. Speaker, I am adding my voice to my other colleagues in correcting the misconception in the report that we agreed by consensus. That was not the decision of the committee, and I'm happy that has been brought to your attention. Mr. Speaker, we all understand the need for us to raise enough taxes to support this economy. And so we from this side are not in a position to say that we don't support government programs that are aimed to increasing the tax revenues of the country. But Mr. Speaker, our support for objective of the government cannot relieve Parliament of its constitutional obligation to examine whether or not the proposal we are considering is adequately supported with evidence, represents value for money, and is sustainable over the long term. Mr. Speaker, we believe in digital transformation, but what we do not believe in is digital opacity. The memorandum
tells us that government is going to deploy 40,000 fiscal electronic devices. What we are cautioning government is that we must avoid a situation whereby we invest heavily in technology and after a few years they all become obsolete because the right benchmarks were not put in place. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the whole memorandum that was presented to us, it lacks certain key ingredients that should support such an agreement. For instance, we are talking about 40,000 devices. But Parliament, your committee, Mr. Speaker, was not seized with how much the compliance or the taxpayer will bear the full cost of this. We do not know what support will be provided to smaller enterprises because all enterprises do not have the same capacity. Mr. Speaker, these and many other questions are still lingering. There are no answers to this. And I must say, Mr. Speaker, that one of the difficulties I had at the committee level is that most of these questions that we posed to the minister and the team that he came with were evaded. There were some kind of evasive responses that were given. Mr. Speaker, it is also important to look at the bigger picture. That this is not just merely a question of technology. It is a question of public financial governance. And therefore, once government wants to deploy such a technology, we should know the consolidated digital revenue strategy. We do not have any of such. We should know a comprehensive cost-benefit analysis. Mr. Speaker, if you look at both the memorandum and the report, only 2 paragraphs were dedicated to fiscal impact analysis. And when we pose the question at the committee level for us to be educated adequately as to the cost and the integrated nature of this device and technology that we were deploying, Mr. Speaker, the answers were not forthcoming. So it is so difficult for us to accept this, knowing very well that we have a responsibility to protect the public purse. We have a responsibility to put government on its toes to ensure that the right thing is done. Mr. Speaker, with this, it becomes very difficult for me to accept the deployment of this technology as is presented by the committee. And I ask this House, Mr. Speaker, to stand this down for proper introspection to be done and proper consideration to be made before we move forward. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Member. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to seek your guidance on Order 122C because you asked the chairman of the committee for the benefit of those of us who were not in the committee meeting. You asked the chairman of the committee to tell the House why the various views that have been raised as dissenting views were not incorporated in the report. But Mr. Speaker, when he rose, he did not address that question. And so I just want to seek your indulgence whether he can clarify that for us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, Chairman, clarification.
Mr. Speaker, after considering each of the requests that was referred to us, I will conclude by saying this report is now being recommended to the plenary by consensus. And I expect you to rise up and trigger the standing orders to ask for a vote. If you don't, I assume that it's okay. It is at that point that you give all your reasons why you are dissenting. But if I say that we are recommending it to the floor and you sit there, you don't say anything, and then we'll get home. And this morning, I now receive messages from the ranking member who was not at the meeting, asking me to telling me that he's not approving it. So if I say majority now, how many majority, how many minority? You cannot assume that every member of the majority will support the bill, the agreement. And you cannot also assume that every member of the minority will go against it. But the vote will declare that. We don't have that. So on what basis are we asking for majority and providing all the reasons why some people have dissented? That is the problem.
Yes, Deputy Minority Whip.
Mr. Speaker, I think the chairman of the committee clearly could see that his members that he was with at the committee meeting have a dissenting view, and they have expressed so on the floor of Parliament. Each and every one of them on their feet actually expressed that they were not in support of it. So it is already evidence enough that they did not support it at the committee level. For the fact that you cannot assume in terms of number that will give you a majority decision, you cannot equally assume on a number of a consensus with regards to the report. So, Mr. Speaker, I think the chairman should do the needful. He can just amend the report to reflect the views of the minority, and then also change from consensus to a majority decision. Then we can take that from where we are, because that is clearly what is. Because if you did not put it to vote to have a number that shows its consensus, you cannot also assume that there is a number that is giving you a consensus decision if you can't change it to majority decision. And then it is clear from their contribution, then we can make a headway, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, it is obvious that there was a committee meeting, that at the committee meeting, some concerns were raised. Explanations were given. And at the end of the meeting, there was no indication that one side was voting against the conclusions of the committee or what the committee was to present to the House. But after the meeting, one side decided that they were against. But the decision was not at the meeting. So once the decision was not at the meeting, that cannot be captured as a conclusion of the meeting. That cannot be captured as a conclusion of the meeting, because at the meeting you did not object to the conclusion being by consensus. Because if you objected to the conclusion being by consensus, the proper standing orders would have applied. But if afterwards, as a caucus, you thought that you had objections, I don't know under what procedures of our standing order, your afterthoughts should be captured as part of the reports of a committee. So please, if you want to vote against it, you can still vote against it. Because we're not going to vote on the report. You can still vote against the report. But you cannot force the chairman to come here and amend the report to say that it was not by consensus. Because after the meeting, you change your mind. Because it's obvious that you change your mind after the meeting. So I plead with you, let's proceed. You have given a clear indication that you are going to vote against the adoption of the report. You have advanced your reasons why you are objecting to the adoption of the report. I will once again plead with you that in the summation by the Deputy Minister for Finance, maybe he will provide some explanations. But let me just indicate that we are not to approve a procurement. If we were to approve a procurement, definitely we will be interested in how much are we procuring the item at. We are here to act in compliance with the Public Financial Management Act, which this Parliament passed. And in Section 33, we said that
any agency that intends to commit this country beyond 1 year, that person should come to this parliament for approval to go and make the commitment. That's all we are supposed to do as a house. And obviously, this is a transaction that is going to exceed 1 year. So it's a multi-year commitment. And the rules are that you come to this house for authorization to proceed, to go and procure. So I don't understand why there is a demand that we should know the price at which we are procuring the item today. I also don't understand why we are being told that we must have a clear indication how much it will cost us. Because it is when you procure that you will know how much it will cost you. So I really am at a loss, the basis of these objections. But you have a right to object. You have a right to oppose. The soundness of your opposition is up to you. But what we are approving today is to authorize the finance minister to go and procure a service provider for the implementation of this program for years beyond 1 year, so that the government can continue to pay for several years. The report is clear, and it says that, and let me read the conclusion, which I think is where we should all pay attention to. The committee, however, emphasizes that the anticipated benefits will depend on transparent procurement. I think where you should apply your energies is to ensuring that the Public Procurement Act is complied with so that the procurement is transparent. Effective contract management. So a lot of the issues that you have raised relate to effective contract management. Robust cyber security safeguards. These are issues that will feed into the price at which the service is procured. Sustained stakeholder engagement, adequate public education, and continuous monitoring and evaluation. Many of the issues that you have raised relate to these issues that the committee says it is at that stage that a lot of the questions that you have asked can be answered. So I plead with you that let's abandon this insistence that the chairman must amend the report, because what he reported is what actually happened at the meeting. What happened after the meeting is not part of the report of the meeting. It's not part of the report of the meeting. And I plead with you to reconsider your position to oppose this, because this is implementing a legislation passed by the NPP administration, a proposal of the NPP administration, which is being implemented today because we agree with it. And a service provider has to be procured to be able to implement this policy framework. So please, colleagues, let us adopt this report, let us grant the approval, and let us pay attention rather to the procurement, to ensuring that there is competitiveness, to ensuring that there is transparency, and to ensuring that it complies with the Public Procurement Act. If that is done, many of the concerns that you are raising will be adequately addressed in the procurement process. Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much.
Yes. Deputy Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I understand exactly the argument that is being made by the Majority Leader. But if I understand the application that was made to you by the Honorable Member of Okere, it was specific. The specificity of this question was that, why is it that the report did not carry the proceedings of the committee? I think that was the clarity that the guidance he was seeking from you, and not to lecture us on how these things. I think it's a diversionary. What we need is that why was the report not having the proceedings of the meeting and the views that have been expressed by members of the committee? I think that was exactly the guidance that is being sought by the member from Okere. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, honorable members, what I can say is to call on members to observe and abide by the provisions of the standing orders. When you come to the floor and raise some of these issues, it's very difficult for us to take a decision on the issues that you've raised, because the standing orders are very detailed on the procedure of committees at the level of consideration of matters referred to the committee. And many of these things you are raising are things that should have happened at the committee level. And we are clear in the standing orders, the functions of the chairman, the members, the clerk to the committee, they are all stated there. And you see that 2682 says the chairman shall, A, promote consensus on matters under consideration at the committee. That's the first one. So the focus of all chairmen is always to promote consensus. And then they are to be impartial, that is B, fair and firm in any matter in the performance of functions of a chairperson in these orders. And C says, protect and preserve the rights of members. That's the focus of chairmen. And then when you go to the other provisions, you see how members are given the liberty, your rights to express your opinions, to even submit reports at the committee level. And then the chairman is to let you decide on each report, including the chairman's own report. And then at the end of it, put the question. So when you don't follow these things, and you now come to a floor and you raise them, it becomes very difficult for the House. Because even at the voting level, 284 is clear. It says a decision at committee shall ordinarily be by consensus. Which meant that if you don't raise those things at the committee level, the chairman will take it that it's by consensus. When you raise them and you submit reports, and then you go through the procedure of voting, then the chairman is in a position to see whether at the end of the day, the final question is majority decision or consensus. So when you don't follow that and you come to the floor, plenary session, it becomes difficult for us to take these decisions. We can only put the question at the end of the day for the House to decide. And that is what, as a Speaker, I can only guide you, and I'll put the question. Yes, Deputy Minority Whip.
Mr. Speaker, leadership is left with leadership to conclude. The majority leader just concluded.
So what did the Deputy Minority Leader do?
Mr. Speaker, I'm going to cede my to Honorable Opon Nkrumah. Mr. Speaker, we are ceding leadership one. Mr. Speaker, in fact, the majority leader was holding the report and copiously, reading the report. So he has concluded.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Speaker, we are ceding our own to
the majority leader has no problem about concluding. But the position is that the minority too has concluded by the submissions of the Deputy Minority Leader. Oh, please, you didn't give me that impression that you were rising on a point of order. And the submissions that she made were not submissions on point of order. Oh.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, sometimes when you are here, we are very happy because we know that the Speaker is there and impartiality, and our father is seated. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, our deputy leader, Mr. Speaker, our deputy leader was only reacting to the ex-husband, the majority leader's
please, Honorable Deputy Minority Leader, can you pinpoint to any standing order who says a member can get up and just react to what another has said, please just draw my attention to it. You say she was just reacting. You don't do that. In fact, I gave her the opportunity because I thought she was going to submit on behalf of the minority. And initially, I thought she was rising on a point of order. But when she made the submissions, I realized she was on substantive matters. And she really emphasized the points that were earlier raised and the clarification that were needed, and stated that you didn't need any lecture from anybody because you know about all these procedures. I'm quoting her. So I took it that she was making a submission on behalf of the minority. Yes, Deputy Minority Leader, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was only on a point of order and raising the issue of the application that was made by the Honorable Member of Okere and how that application has been responded to. But the application was to you, Mr. Speaker, to guide him on what has to be done. And so this one, it was not really a contribution on the report, because we know.
Oh, you are my sister. You know, when the member raised that issue, I myself referred it to the chairman for clarification. And the chairman responded. After the chairman, the Deputy Minister for Finance added his voice to the explanation before I went back to the member to continue with the contribution. So that was done already. Honorable Opong Nkrumah, you are a media man, and you know communication very well. This one, you are getting it wrong. Maybe you were not following the proceedings. Yes, because I can hear you loud and clear. It's not that you are whispering. You are talking to my hearing. So please, if you want to react to what I'm saying, I'm the speaker, you can. And I'll group you in by mentioning your name. So you have that opportunity to react to what I'm saying. Not to respond, to react.
Mr. Speaker, what I was saying to your hearing was actually in support of what you were saying. That was the chronology of events until the Honourable Member for Okere got up and asked for your direction, and he quoted the standing order that the earlier direction you had given had not been responded to. It was that led to the back and forth, and then the majority leader spoke, and then the deputy leader spoke. So what the Deputy Chief Whip was saying is that we are now about to do the conclusions from leadership before you put the question. That's what I was trying to draw your attention to. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
But, Honourable, what they did was not in response to the submissions and issues raised by the Honourable Member for Okere. They went beyond that. They went beyond that. And in fact, the Deputy Minority Leader herself referred to what the Majority Leader said as a lecture. Now, that a lecture cannot be responding to just one question that has been raised here. No. So please, let's move on. We have business today, and I have to go and receive some important guests. So I want to put the question before I leave. I understand the situation, and I know that it can only be resolved by putting the question. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, as a father as you are, I want to pray that you should just let it. 5 minutes, Mr. Speaker, 5 minutes will not spoil putting the question. So the Honourable Opong Nkrumah will just conclude on our part and you'll just put the question, Mr. Speaker.
5 minutes for who?
Honourable Opong Nkrumah, Leadership 1.
Oh, he is going to speak for and on behalf of leadership.
Yes, on behalf of our leaders. Just 5 minutes, Mr. Speaker.
Does that mean after that the majority will have the opportunity. Yes, Majority Leader.
Yes, so he can speak for leadership, and then the Deputy Minister for Finance will also speak for leadership on this side.
Thank you so much. So, Honorable Okpong Nkrumah.
Mr. Speaker, may you live long. Mr. Speaker, as the Majority Leader rightly mentioned, this transaction is based on an act passed by the MPP administration in 2018. And so we on this side will be the last to oppose it. But, Mr. Speaker, you also recall that when the Minister for Finance appeared here, he mentioned that even in operationalizing this, he will want the ranking member of the Committee of Finance to be part of the Oversight Committee. And he praised the MPP administration for this. So it's not something that ordinarily we will oppose. But, Mr. Speaker, there's a process for the multi-year commitment. And with your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, before a multi-year commitment is requested for, the ministry that is requesting for it has an idea or the model of what it wants to do, the global costs, and the multi-year fiscal implications. So usually they will do a schedule that this will take 6 years. Each year, this is how much it costs. That schedule and the global amount, even who the contractor is known before the multi-year commitment is applied for. Mr. Speaker, what is different in this instance is that there have been no such disclosures to Parliament. But Parliament is being asked to give a blank check to the ministry to go and procure. And it is that we are saying is very inappropriate. If we do that respectfully, Mr. Speaker, it is our considered view that we'll be operating as a rubber stamp. What we will pray our colleagues on the majority side to do is not to rush this through, rather let us stand it down. And Mr. Speaker, with your good offices and your powers, let them provide this information. How many years are we committing the Republic of Ghana to? What is the annual fiscal implication we are committing the Republic of Ghana to? Who are we giving this job to even? Because that information is available. It will be a travesty if they rather tell this House that they don't know, yet they want a blank check. Parliament cannot be given this sort of blank check for procurement to take place. It has some implications, and I'll end with this. The annual fiscal implications may constrict fiscal space a lot more if we don't know it and we are proving it. It could also bring contingent liability in the years down the line if we don't even bother to discuss the figures. And so our recommendations are, let's stand down this motion, let Parliament request for these details. There's no need to be in haste. Let's get these details, and then, Mr. Speaker, all of us can support for what we believe will help this country in the end. I thank Mr. Speaker for your indulgence.
Yes, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank honorable members for their contribution and to say that today, when we started the debate on the mid-year fiscal policy review, Honorable Abna Osei-Asare, a former Deputy Minister and a former Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance, made a statement about the performance of VAT. She lamented that VAT is not performing as everybody would expect. And we agree. It is in response to this that we are in this House to seek your approval to bring an intervention that will help us improve on our VAT collections. Mr. Speaker, it is known that our VAT gap in this country over the last several years has been about 60%. What that means is that we are collecting only about 40% of the VAT that we are supposed to collect. It means 60% of our potential VAT collections are not being realized by the state. And in 2025, that was estimated at about 14% of GDP. Mr. Speaker, in response to this, government was in this House in 2025 to pass the VAT Amendment Act that we all know has contributed significantly to this. Finance Minister Akufo-Addo had cause to give praise to the previous MPP administration for passing this tax law in 2018. And in fact, that is one of the few good things that we can credit the previous administration for. And Mr. Speaker, he also mentioned that to enhance the implementation of this program, we have sought your leave to have the chairman and ranking members of the finance committee, to actually the finance and budget committees, to form an oversight committee to see to the implementation of this program. And I chair that committee, and I can say with all certainty that we are getting good inputs from people like Honorable Akufo-Addo and others who were there and sought to the enactment of the legislation that we need to implement this program. Mr. Speaker, when Honorable Yabuama was speaking, he made mention of the existence of EVAT program and said that a service provider was engaged to provide that service. What he didn't add is that that was a multi-year service provision that failed to come to this House. So that is alien to this House. We do not want to continue with illegality. And so we are coming to this House for you to approve this for us. He also mentioned that we have not, or we did not indicate why we are replacing the EVAT program. But Mr. Speaker, if you look at the memo that we brought to this House, which was referred to the Finance Committee, on paragraph 9, let me take from paragraph 10. It says that although the EVAT system was introduced in 2022 and progressively rolled out, compliance challenges persist, especially in business-to-consumer sectors reliant on manual cash regimes. It went further to say that the current EVAT integration relies heavily on the taxpayers' POS system being fully compliant and connected. Cash-heavy businesses, that is retail, hospitality, etc., remain at high risk of underreporting or failing to issue compliant receipts. There are a lot of reasons that we gave that because of that the EVAT system was not functioning properly, and so we need to introduce this electronic device that will help us implement the project effectively. Mr. Speaker, what that is going to do is that currently we see a lot of shops, retail shops, taking VAT but not remitting to the state. This system is going to stop that, and it is going to help us improve on our VAT revenue. So I want to appeal to that it is important.
Yes, honourable members, I will put the question. Honourable members, I think my understanding is that there's agreement that there's a policy already in place. A policy referred to as the Fiscal Electronic Device Policy. And that's for the Ghana Revenue Authority. That's the first. The second is that there's agreement that there's a law requiring some processes to be taken. The first one is prior written approval by the Minister for Finance. That, from the debate, has been agreed upon. The third procedure is now to bring it before the House for what? Approval. And so it's all still procedures. We have not gone to a substantive area where your committees are set up to, on daily basis, oversee, scrutinize, and bring to the attention of the House if anything untoward is being done. And so it's still at that level of approvals, just following the law, that you are being called upon to give approval. So the issues raised are germane, but not to the approval. It's when it gets to the issue of implementation. Was what Honorable Opong Nkrumah was talking about were projections. You know, you should have some idea when you are going to implement the cost implications and all those things. And those are implementational stages where you need those details. And so it's still left to the committee and members to keep an eye on this matter, because all of you are very much interested in the challenges that we are meeting as a country. That is why the previous regime started and brought the enactment and the policy. And so I think that to resolve these differences, I just put the question, and that will be the decision of the House. Honorable members, those in favor of the adoption of the report of the Finance Committee on the request for a multi-year expenditure commitment to engage a service provider to assist with the implementation of the fiscal electronic device policy for the Ghana Revenue Authority, say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. Honorable members, I think the ayes have it. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion is accordingly adopted. First Deputy Speaker to take the chair. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the consequential resolution itemized 5 on the addendum order paper.
Honorable members, consequential resolution. Minister for Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that resolution number 5 on today's order paper addendum be taken now. I so move, Mr. Speaker.